everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of the Pretty Real podcast, the place where pretty reals become pretty real. I'm your host, Olivia Koo, and I'm here to find the real backstory of how creators and entrepreneurs actually grew their platforms. And in today's episode, I have a really exciting guest, someone who is both a UGC creator and started her very own marketing agency. So let's welcome Natalie to the show. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So I'd love if you're able to give a brief introduction of who you are to begin.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so honored to be able to come on here and talk with you. So my name's Natalie. I am the founder and CEO of Sumi Media Group. So we're just a small social media marketing agency based in Salt Lake City. We specialize in helping local small businesses to grow their social media pages. We offer like social media management. We are a full service agency. And then I also have created UGC and brand content myself before I got started. So I kind of got to work from both sides of the industry.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. I've been very inspired by a lot of the work you're doing, especially for me, because I want to go into marketing as I transition into my college years.
Yeah.
And so I kind of love to know when did you start creating content and when you realized that this content could become something bigger like Sumi Media Group that you started now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually am also in college for marketing, so I love that you're going to take that path too. But yeah, so I started doing content when I was actually in high school. I think it was about 16 or 17, and it kind of just started out as like a fun thing. My very first client was a boba shop that I actually worked at as like a barista, and then I helped manage it as well. And I've always kind of loved creative stuff like that. I've always done artsy things and everything. And so one day I was just talking to the owner and I asked her if I could like log into the social media and just do some of it for fun for free since I was there so much working. And then as I just kind of kept playing with it and learning about it and getting interested in it, then uh, about like a year into it, I feel like I really cracked the code and just started doing a great job at it. And I think the thing with local businesses is they kind of all watch each other. And so when my content for Sunny Honey started to do really well, then that's when other brands and other local businesses started to like reach out to me.
That's so cool. I feel like so you really were the one who took initiative with that in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it was just like me in high school doing it freelance, and then people just started to reach out to me, and I really saw that like local businesses really wanted to have social media like that and have someone take care of it for them and really building their brand. And that's when I realized like, okay, I can really start taking on clients and like turn this into a job. So
I feel like that's really good advice even for just high schoolers like me or people
yeah.
watching. Just if you can take initiative in your local community, I think that's a great way to start out, especially in this age where I feel like social media is a really important form of marketing, even above a lot of the other forms, I feel like at this point. I'd love to know kind of made you decide that you wanted to start your own agency rather than just continuing as a creator or working with small businesses just on your own, kind of what made you decide to expand that into something like this?
It's funny because my clients tend to ask me like, why aren't you an influencer if you do all this social media? But I just honestly prefer shooting products and businesses over myself. Um, I have made like some content for myself. I'm pretty active on my TikTok, but I just, for whatever reason, I feel like I have a knack for the products and the businesses rather than myself. And it feels very rewarding to me to kind of, when I do work with those businesses, really see the results for other people. I love like a lot of these small business owners, their business is like their baby and they've built it up, but then they're missing that marketing piece. And so getting to be the person to like bridge between the business and the customers is just very rewarding to me. So I just kind of prefer it over making content about myself. It's just a preference.
Yeah, I see. How do you kind of navigate tracking kind of the success rates of the things that you're making for these businesses or what exactly are you making? Is it just social media content or kind of I'd love to know more about the agency itself.
Yeah, so a lot of what I do is mostly like social media management. And so, kind of the basic gist is that my clients will sign on for a monthly package with just like a set number of deliverables. And so, we just help them with like content creation, posting that content, keeping caught up with like their engagement, connecting with other local businesses. Like, sometimes part of my job is to literally just sit on TikTok and comment from their account for like 10 minutes. And so just kind of like a very well-rounded assistance with social media management. And then I do like some event promotion and like mini packages, but yeah, it's a lot of just helping businesses like to build their social media presence, and it's mostly just like Instagram and TikTok.
Okay, cool. What's your like, I guess, favorite experience that you've had so far ever since starting the media group?
Ooh, I would say like the first time that I had an event go super viral. Because the thing is, with kind of going back on, I realized I didn't answer your question about how I kind of see the results. It can be hard to say for sure if, there's word of mouth or other forms of marketing. Um, and people don't always tell you, like, oh, I came into the store because I saw your video. So it can be hard to track. But I feel like with events, it's such a fun way to really see that work actually come together in one place since there's like a set time and date. And so the first time I had a like vendor market go super viral, just the promotion that we did for it, just seeing like the amount of people that showed up was crazy. I think it was just insane to think that like the only form of marketing we did was through social media, and this is how many people we were able to bring together. So that was super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So you're kind of doing this like social media agency on top of currently being a college student as well, right? So
Yeah, yeah. So I
yeah.
am going into my last year.
Okay.
Ready to be done. Yeah.
How are you kind of doing in terms of like managing the life on both sides, like kind of having to balance your time with, school and balancing this whole agency, which is really amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of I kind of just I since I started it in high school, but it was more freelance, and then throughout college is when I really started to build it as a business. And so I've kind of just rolled with whatever has happened. But I think it's been tough in some ways because then I can't scale my business maybe as much as I would if I didn't have school, or I can't be just like fully 100% devoted to school like some students are. So I kind of have to I can't give like 100% to either or at the moment, but at the same time, I feel like they're kind of supporting each other. So what I'm learning in school and like those professional skills and everything helps me in my business. And then being able to run my business and everything helps me to just be like a productive person and stay on top of things. So it's been tough at times, but I'm grateful to get the opportunity to get a degree. So
Yeah, yeah. Is this something that you're trying to do full time after you graduate, or is there kind of a different
yeah.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Yeah, so once I graduate, I'm like, then I won't have school, so I can just fully kind of. I've been scaling as much as I can, but I feel like then I can really just dive into it after.
How's your experience been as a marketing student? Can I ask what college that you're
Yeah,
attending right now?
yeah, so I'm at the University of Utah and I'm doing marketing with a sales emphasis. So essentially, like, very similar to just the classic marketing major, but I take a couple more classes that are focused on sales specifically. So it's been great. I guess the one thing with working so much is that I'm less involved on campus, so I'm not like I haven't lived on campus or been super involved that way, but it's been good.
Okay, cool, cool. So I guess one of the things I've been really wondering is I feel like you have a
Yeah.
very unique perspective on things because I feel like you have the side of kind of being a creator in some ways as well as being on the agency side. So is there kind of some advice that you'd like to give to people or like a unique kind of perspective that you have because you're on both sides of that spectrum?
Yeah, I think they're so different, and I think they provide different value to the businesses. And so a lot of the businesses that I work with are local businesses. And so because of that, they have like smaller budgets. And that really is like a key point for them. Being a small business is just their budget. And so I think Agencies are great for like consistency because then if they want to build their own brand or have like consistent posting themselves, then it's great to work with an agency. But I also think that with influencers, it can be a great way to just contribute to like their word of mouth marketing. And depending on the size of the influencer, it's just they can get like one great hit off of a video. I think it's kind of tough with the small businesses because they tend to trust influencers maybe more than an agency just because that's kind of what they've heard works is like, oh, if an influencer posts for you, then you go viral. And so they kind of trust that. But at the same time, I think a lot of small businesses are super hesitant to work with creators because oftentimes creators are charging money and then the small businesses because they don't have a lot of budget they're like scared to spend that money and take that risk since there really isn't a guarantee of the video doing well per se depending on the size of the creator. So I think it just kind of comes down to the business owner and where they're at with their budget and maybe if they've had experiences with either in the past.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Have you found that like there's certain kind of like things that really make a business stand out, like things that you kind of use in your marketing efforts or certain like yeah, I guess like what do you do to make that business stand out on social media?
I would say the first thing I focus on is what makes them unique. I try to think about like what can they offer the customer that someone else can't offer them? Because when you think about like customers and trying to essentially convincing them to come to your store or buy your products or services, they have so many options. Especially I think in today's world, like people are can be scared to spend their money in certain places, and so you kind of have to show them what you offer that they can't get somewhere else because that's just kind of that final convincing factor that they should spend their money with you.
I'd love if you like had any advice for younger students or people that are trying to go along a similar path as
Mhm.
you. What would you say is like a good starting step or something they should do right now while they're in high school or in college right now to start getting towards that point?
Ooh, I would say a lot of people kind of worry that like they're not ready, and I think no one is ever ready. You kind of just have to go for it and start with anything. No one really has everything all figured out. I feel like a lot of business owners like they're kind of just along for the ride and figuring it out along the way. So if they're in like high school or college and wanting to get started, as simple as it sounds, the best advice is just to start. You don't have to have everything figured out. So I'd say like, especially if it's online, just start trying to like build a brand or post about yourself or your work and just get yourself out there.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. Even I feel like in the content creation world, I think a lot of people think, your videos, for example, have to be perfect, but
Mm-hmm.
I found that just starting to post it and be consistent was the best like way to go because really
Yeah.
it's hard to ever be perfect. Even now, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
my videos aren't ever going to be perfect, but just starting is really the best advice, even though it
Yeah.
sounds really simple, but
Right. I think it's just
yeah,
that
yeah.
confidence because, like, when I first started out, I was 17, 16 or 17, and I was just like so confident. Like, this video looks so good. I'm gonna post it for the whole world to see on social media. And some of them did great. Like, they got hundreds of thousands of views, brought a bunch of customers into the business. They were amazing. And like, you had those great results. But then the actual quality of the video, looking back at it now, I'm like, I would change these things or I would never post that. And so I think just having that confidence to just start is what's really going to make the difference because nothing will ever be perfect. And you will always look back on things and think of ways to change it or what you would or wouldn't do. So just go on for it.
Yeah, and I think a big thing is also just like trying to not be too scared of failure because
Hmm.
at first a lot of the videos, especially like when you're starting to like learn how to do it, won't always hit the mark or, blow up and stuff. But I think going from there and realizing from that failure kind of like the things you could improve is like a way to keep growing. So
Yeah, for sure.
I'd love to know kind of what a typical work day looks like for you.
Yeah. So my work days kind of vary, but I'm like, I cannot complain because I get to wake up. Pretty much whenever, depending on if I have an in-person shoot to do. So, kind of with my clients, we'll have like in-person content shoots. And so I might have maybe one or two of those in a day. And it really is so much fun. Like if I am shooting for one of my clients is Junbi Matcha. I just went there today for content and like I just get to show up depending on maybe they have a release they want to film or something specific. We just grab our content, and then if it's food, I get to eat the food. If it's like a spa, one of us might get to model on the team. And so it really is just so much fun. And I get to connect with the business owners and talk to them while I'm there. And then I do a lot of like editing and posting and planning throughout the day. I check in with my team, approve things for them to post. So it's very relaxed, but it's always a good time. So
So I guess you do have a team, so it's not like a solo
yeah.
effort at this point anymore.
Yes, yeah.
To know kind of like what members and like different things you need done with your team.
Yeah, so I think just as I was growing, I kind of realized that if I wanted to grow more, I was kind of at capacity for what I could handle myself. And then as for content too, when you are shooting like products, food, that sort of thing, it's so convenient to have even just one extra person there. You've got someone to like hold the food or be the model or whatever. So that was definitely what pushed me to open up for a team was just needing like an extra person. I actually just sent out some offers for my fall internship. And so what those girls are going to be doing is just kind of assisting with social media. They'll learn like how to shoot, edit, and post content. They kind of take care of a lot of those extra little things that make my clients happy. So like posting stories or Instagram notes every day, kind of just those little tasks. And then just being those extra bodies is so helpful.
Yeah, I feel like that makes a lot of sense. I
Mhm.
was wondering like kind of how you were doing it all by yourself or kind
Yeah.
of like what the process was. But so I was gonna ask you, I know you mentioned like a lot of the small businesses have really small budgets, so kind of how
Yeah.
do you decide what you're gonna charge for your services to make it both fair for you and work for the business?
Mhm. I would say that I try to keep it affordable, but I know at the same time it can be hard. Same thing with creators, like making sure that your time and effort is valued. And so I think as long as I feel like I can give them results that are worth the money, then that typically works great for them. A lot of people are scared to take that initial jump, especially because I am at a point where, like maybe a freelancer who's just starting out can offer a lot lower pricing. But I think if they feel like the return that they're getting from paying that price for social media is worth it for them, then they're usually okay with kind of making that investment.
So I know you said you did it at the boba shop at the beginning, so I'm
Hmm.
assuming that was kind of just volunteering just to kind of figure things
Yeah.
out. And using that, you
Hmm.
probably built some kind of portfolio to build
Yeah.
trust. Yeah.
Yep. So I did it for free at the beginning. I was just posting, having fun with it. And then like my prices at the beginning were so low, and I was like down to post as much as you want. So I think just if you're getting started, like being open like that to just take the work on and build that portfolio is then what's going to give you the ability to like charge the prices that you want to charge later.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I think, it's important to, or even for creators, I think like building relationships and building
Hmm.
a portfolio at the beginning is really important, even
Yeah.
if it means taking a lower price.
Yeah, for sure.
I do know you also do some UGC, so I was wondering if, for people that don't know and are listening to this, if you could kind of explain the difference of being an influencer versus being a UGC creator.
Yeah, so UGC just stands for user generated content. And essentially, you're just creating content for the brands that they can post to their own social media, website, or ads. And so, kind of the difference is that with an influencer, you're often having to kind of market yourself or post about your own lifestyle to your own account. Whereas for UGC, it's posted to the brand's account. And so, kind of like if you see some content posted to maybe, say, Rode or something, chances are it wasn't made in house. They're going to find someone to make it for them. And so, oftentimes, it's a bit more product focused. So, kind of the beauty of it is that I know a lot of people that are scared to be influencers because they don't want to post on their own page. Then you don't have to. So you get to create that content for that brand and then just send it their way for them to use.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people that do or like want to get into UGC, the biggest question they kind of face is like how they even get into it or how they can start creating in the first place. So I'd love to know kind of your journey of how you got to get into UGC and like where you're at now.
Yeah, I think I don't do a ton of it as much now that I am so busy with my agency and my clients. But to get started, I feel like just creating some content yourself for kind of a portfolio, or if you do have your own page that you're posting it to, is great, just because then brands kind of have something to go off of. I kind of see that even with a lot of my clients are in the food industry, so we get a lot of like foodie influencers reaching out to us. And the one thing I always look for is I look at their account to see what their posts look like. And if they have no food posts, then I kind of have nothing to go off of. And so I think having a portfolio or a page that you're posting to is definitely crucial because the brands need to like see your content. And so if you're just getting started, you could take products around your house or just like make fun content yourself, just to kind of get some examples out there.
Okay, yeah, that's really good advice. Do you use any platforms or do you usually just kind of cold email places or kind of how did you get the UGC opportunities?
I would say through like cold email or DM, and then I think unfortunately, if you do post to your own page, I know some people don't want to do that because with UGC you don't have to, but posting to your own page will get you kind of some of those deals, just because brands are looking out for it and can find you that way. So I did get a lot of brands reaching out to me, which was great.
I know since you do work at your agency, I'm sure when you manage the social medias, there's certain influencers or people reaching out to you to kind of work with those businesses. And so I'd love to know what are some of the mistakes that influencers might make that make you not want to work with them, or what does make you want to work with them, or kind of just like tips for how to pitch to businesses as a creator.
Yeah, I would say kind of similar to what I was just talking about, that I like to see that they have work to show. Um, I think being on both sides of it, now that I am on the side of someone who's accepting the collab, whenever I like, I'll have foodie influencers reach out to me about a collab or something, and then I look at their page and there might be zero videos related to food. And so, because of that, it either just shows me that they maybe don't have any experience with it yet, or it kind of just shows me that they're reaching out to me before they've tried it. And I think people just like to see an example of it because it's especially it's more about that and less about the followers. I have accepted collabs from people with less than 1,000 followers because when I went to their page, their content was great and I could see like I love their content, I love the ideas and all of that. I had something to kind of work with. So I definitely look at that more than I look at the followers.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big misconception. I feel like a lot of people think that followers necessarily equates to more deals or more brands wanting to work with you, but I think it really depends on like the quality of the content itself. And
Yeah.
so it's good to hear from the brand side as well that that's the
Yeah.
case because I feel like a lot of people worry about that as well. Like they feel like they can't work with certain places just because their follower count is lower, but
Mm,
I always try to tell people that that's not always the case because I remember when I was first starting out, I thought that, I couldn't work with anybody because I was like at a couple hundred followers, I think.
yeah.
Um, but I think my first collab was with Olive Young, even when I was at
Mhm.
like 300 followers or something like that. And so I feel like it's really important for people to realize that as long as you are making quality content, then it's very worth it. So
Yeah, for sure. Your content was always so great, even when you were first starting out. Like,
thank you.
I was already kind of working with some clients at that point. Every time I'd see your stuff, I was like, she's killing it. And so, definitely, yeah, when people
Thank
see
you.
that, they can kind of see the potential too. Because similarly, I accepted a collab for a food influencer here that at the time, I think he had like a couple hundred followers maybe. And then right as I accepted his collab, his page just blew up. And I was like, I saw the content, I knew it was gonna work. He just didn't have the
Mhm.
followers yet. And so it really is about like the quality of your content and just your willingness to like show up and work with a brand than your followers.
Yeah, yeah, I truly think that's the case. And, when it comes to if you see potential and but I feel like you yourself have to believe in the potential that you have and be consistent with it.
Hmm.
Um, because yeah, I remember even when I was starting, I was posting 3 times like every single
Yeah.
day for like an entire summer.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but because I kept on posting so much, I got a lot more exposure. And
Yeah.
so by the time the product actually arrived to my house, my followers had like tripled or something. And
Yeah.
so, I think that's a really important point for a lot of people to realize. And a lot of people are nervous to reach out to brands because they feel like they're not at a big
Yeah.
enough place. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like in that case, it's like the worst thing they could say is no. So
Hmm.
you might as well just go for it.
Hmm. Would you say, I know a lot of people struggle with this, especially in UGC, but have you kind of had an experience with brands kind of taking advantage of you in terms of like the usage rights or different things that has to do with the video content itself, or how do you kind of navigate that, or especially if you're self-taught or don't work with an agency?
That's hard. I think it happens a lot too when you're starting out since you are trying to get those experiences and so you're not charging anything. And so then because of that, I think some brands think like, sweet, this is free, so we're gonna just try to get as much out of this collab as we can. And it can be hard to hold those boundaries when you're trying to like build your portfolio and get that work experience. Um, but I think as long as you don't feel bad about it, then go for it. But if something is making you feel bad at the end of the day, like I know it's hard when you're trying to maybe get a little bit of pay or trying to get that exposure and experience. You want to accept every job, but I think at the end of the day, like accepting every job can come back to bite you in the butt. So it's definitely good to just look out for that and just be kind of mindful of yourself and your own boundaries, you know. But that is super hard since it's kind of a balance between accepting things that you're and trying to get that experience, but then also keeping yourself safe.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's really difficult, especially for like younger creators that are starting
Hmm.
out. Obviously I started when I was like 15, I think, and I think for a lot of younger creators, also brands know that they can kind of take advantage of you
Hmm.
more. And so they'll kind of put things in like small script or like, different things to kind
Yeah,
of trick you into things. And I didn't know kind of the meanings of like, oh, like if they want usage in perpetuity, like what does this mean? Or like, different things like that. And so I think it's good to spread awareness for younger creators just to know that their work is still valuable as well.
for sure. And I think like even if you have to turn down an offer for a reason like that, just know that the offers will keep coming. Like I have to turn down some clients, but then I might get a great client. It could be a premium client worth a lot of money later down the road. So just don't like sell yourself short in any way.
Hmm. I'd love to know, kind of circling back a little bit. I know we talked a little bit about you starting out by doing some work for free and things like that, but how did you really gain the trust of the businesses you work with now? I know it's honestly, at least for me, it's hard to kind of gain the trust of local businesses because they are working with such a small budget. So do you kind of
Hmm.
just show them your portfolio, or do you meet with them in person, or like kind of what is the things that you do to gain long-term steady clients that trust you?
I would say it's a few things because they do have a small budget. A lot of it is results based. So the pressure can kind of be on in that sense, but having great results really it just speaks for itself. I got really lucky and blessed to be in the position that I was in where my very first client, I kind of just felt like I really cracked the code on how to help their brand go viral. And so other businesses saw that. And so I didn't need to pitch myself as much, which was super great for me. But on top of the results, I would say just consistency and your ability to follow through. I have heard so many stories about like freelance social media managers that just don't do what they said they were going to do. So, like, they might tell a business, I'm going to post 10 times a month for you, and then they just don't do it. And so, I think just make sure that you're following through, communicate, if the business owner feels like you're really just trying to communicate with them, giving them updates, asking if there's anything that they need, just try to make them feel taken care of. Especially if you're kind of building your ability to give them those results, then just make them feel taken care of and seen. Definitely focus on trying to bring their vision to life. Because if they feel like, oh, the social media manager is doing what I want and translating it into social media, I think they feel pretty happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess to round out this episode, I just wanted to ask for somebody that is wanting to build a career online, whether in marketing or as a creator, but they just feel really overwhelmed, kind of the one piece of advice you want them to remember.
I think a lot of people, kind of like what we talked about earlier, they're scared to start because they don't feel ready. But another thing I've been told a lot is that they maybe feel embarrassed, especially with it being online. It's kind of like anybody could see it. It's out there for the whole world to look at. And so that can feel very like embarrassing or overwhelming just to know that you could be perceived by anyone, people that you know. And so just I try to remember that like you pay your own bills and you create your own happiness. And so if you love it and it's something that makes you super happy, and then if you turn it into something that is helping you pay your bills and helping you to just take care of yourself, then there's nothing to be embarrassed about. And I think a lot of times the people that you admire and look up to are the people that are going to support you and cheer you on. And so anytime that you're worried kind of about somebody else judging you, just try to remember that like they're not the ones taking care of your life. So if you love it and you're so happy doing it, then keep doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think the thing is like everybody starts somewhere, so even the
Mm-hmm.
biggest creators or the biggest agencies or the biggest,
Yeah.
people in society have started at the same place that you have. And so,
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah. I feel like you have to kind of, it's a bit of a humiliation ritual to post yourself online, but I feel like I talk about that all the time. I'm like, I had so many people that were like, what is she doing? Why is she trying to post like an influencer? Oh, this is so embarrassing. But now I've reached a point where people are asking me how I did it and they're asking me like for advice and everything. And so I think you kind of might have this phase of embarrassment, but if you just push yourself through it, you will make it out of it.
Yeah, yeah, everything is cringe until it works, I
Yeah,
think. So,
exactly.
okay, so thank you so much. I feel like this was a very insightful episode, especially for people who are interested into going into a similar field as you. So I'd love if you could share your socials and where people can find you
Yeah.
online.
Thank you. I'm so honored again. It's so great
Thank
to talk
you.
to you. But
Thank you so much.
yeah, my company is Sumi Media Group, and that's just my tag on both Instagram and TikTok. And then you'll probably find my page in there. I'm in the comments, but I don't post too much to my personal account, but definitely with the business. So
Yeah, okay. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to episode 4 of the Pretty Real podcast. And remember to keep it real out there. Bye. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna stop the recording.